I would start the podcast, but the video's decided to crash on me. So give me 1 second and I'll fix that. Thank you very much for the hose, buddy. I bet that was to go when it went live, wasn't it?
Maybe.
And Sorrel, thank you very much for the host, Sorrel. Hello. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to do this again. Yeah. What episode number is this? 14.
God.
Thank you very much for the host, Immortal McLeod, as well. It's not a shambles. Hello, Tesla. Right, here we go. Mute sound, Flower. Let's go back and do this countdown. Hello and welcome along to the Turn 1 podcast, episode 14. It's the mid-season review, and joining me as always to talk about everything Formula 1 for the first 12 races at least are my fellow colleagues Will, Lard, Emma and Henry. Guys, how are you doing?
Hello.
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 Alright.
What? All right. Yeah, it's a mid-season review, so we don't have much news to go on or any races to go on because obviously the game, the game. No, we're not playing the game either. The season is still on its summer break. We have got one piece of news though, which is probably the best thing to go through at this precise moment, which is the switchover of drivers with Alexander Albon being promoted to Red Bull and Pierre Gasly being dropped down to Toro Rosso. Guys, I predicted it. I predicted Gasly wouldn't be in his seat. Henry didn't. What did you guys think?
But Christian Horner said he wasn't going to do that. Is he telling a lie? Did he lie to us?
He did it with Kvyat, didn't he? It's that whole goblet of is it the poison chalice thing?
It runs a goblet.
It's the whole poison chalice thing, isn't it? Where, like I said a few podcasts ago, where the football owners say they have faith in their manager, and then that means they've got weeks to go.
It's just it's a rebel thing to do, isn't it? Really, just promote somebody, and then if they're not giving them the results they want, see you later.
That's about right.
So it makes it funny. They've got nobody really coming through, have they? So they could have given him the rest of the season and then done it in the season, if that was what they were going to do.
Yeah, I was watching somebody the other day say basically Red Bull used up, 6 or 8 seasons worth of drivers in 3 seasons. By changing and
they don't have a good record, do they? I mean,
no.
Really, for people coming through.
And who's going to want to sign for them? Because they just get rid of you.
Because Max Verstappen didn't come through the junior team, did he? They signed him from Formula 3, if I'm correct. I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. I don't think he's a Red Bull driver
program. No.
Yeah.
I thought he was part of the Red Bull driver program.
No, he was. Did he not win Formula 3? Or he had a good season in Formula 3, and everybody was trying to sign him because he was hyped up. And from what I've read, it was Red Bull could offer him an F1 seat, so he signed for them.
I think he did a season of F2 while he was waiting for the seat, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Right, okay.
And Daddy Dearest helped him out as well a little bit.
Oh, God, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, Gasly, where does he go from here? Obviously, he's in a seat. But do we think he'll survive the end of 2019? Do we think he'll still be at Toro Rosso, or will they do what they did with Kvyat and drop him?
I reckon he'll last to the end of the year and then he'll go across the pond.
Ooh.
IndyCar awaits, maybe from McLaren.
Yeah.
I think different. I think different.
Oh, I like this.
Go on.
Oh,
Go on.
Well, Hulkenberg's about to, probably leave. French team, French driver, ex-Red Bull driver, same as, Ricardo. Decent pace, reliable driver. Not a bad replacement for dear old Hulkenberg.
So you think he could go to Renault?
Yeah, because he'll be cheaper as well. He's the perfect person for that seat, though. He can learn off Ricardo. He's not expensive. He's worked with Renault before.
Yeah,
Good shout.
that is a good shout. Actually, I never thought of that because obviously the Hulkenberg factor is definitely.
Hulkenberg's the key.
I don't think he is.
Well, if he goes to Red Bull, then obviously Renault needs to sign a driver. If he stays at Renault, then do Red Bull stick with Albon even if he's has a poor season, or do they put Kvyat back in that seat next year?
See, that's the thing.
Kvyat in that seat.
You don't think they will?
Nah. Too proud.
See, Kvyat, since he's come back into Formula One, yes, he had that double whack with Norris and Sainz in Bahrain. Was it Bahrain?
You mean he hit one McLaren and the other hit the other McLaren? Yeah.
No, he hit both McLarens.
No, he
Sainz
touched
clipped the
one
right
McLaren.
and
No,
then he hit the left.
He touched one McLaren, and Lando Norris was in a place where he shouldn't have been, coming back on the track and ruined his own race.
Says the guy who supports the team in sixth.
Yeah.
This is me saying he hit both McLarens. It doesn't matter if it is if it was off the track or on the track. He still hit both McLarens. The cars banged.
Either way, Kvyat is a crap driver. He's always been crashing into people throughout his whole F1 career.
Yep. But I know where he's going.
But he has money.
I feel like he's Jordan at this point. I have this crystal ball, and I'm going to take.
You're not wearing a toupee, are you?
How did you know? I thought my bandana kept it on.
Are you going to appear in October with this garish shirts?
Oh, please no. Please no.
Yes, but I can see Kvyat going to Haas, ex-Ferrari test driver, Ferrari engine, and buy. See that happening.
There was reports this week that said that Gunter Steiner said he wasn't going to put a youngster in that seat next year with all their issues. So that rules out their reserve driver, who's also a Ferrari protege. So I think they could go for Pascal Wehrlein next year.
I think they need somebody current in F1.
Yeah.
And I think Kvyat would be perfect. A bit more experience. He knows he's not going to go for Red Bull because Red Bull, too proud to take him back. Jump ship. Why wouldn't you? You've got to lose.
If Haas want two drivers,
that is a good point.
If Haas are looking for two drivers, if they're going to get rid of one, they've got to get rid of the other, surely.
Well, the rumour was, we'll get on to Haas a little bit later on because that's got to be one of the main talking points about the season, isn't it? Is once we go through team by team, is Haas. Yeah. Like
it shows
go on.
How much one drive change will cause the whole grid to change at this point.
Yeah.
Waiting on this to be confirmed, and then we're waiting on Bottas and Hulkenberg, and then that'll be the whole grid up in arms because everybody will be switching around.
It's either going to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next year's going to seem like a whole year waiting for the new regulations to come in 2021 before everybody does a mass change out.
Yeah. Well, let's go through the review. Let's start with the champions, shall we? Let's start with Mercedes. So 12 races in, they've had a couple of hiccups, really, mainly due to heat and wet, but on the whole, stronger than ever. So, what do you say?
almost pure domination, really.
Mm.
Just almost, they've almost had a perfect season.
Yeah, because they've only had one DNF, and that was Bottas, didn't they?
Bottas in Germany. Yeah.
Germany.
I mean, let's
The
have.
reliability of that car is just incredible.
Yeah.
They worried about Ferrari's pace in the pre-season, and they've just got on with it. They knew what they needed to do, cut the drag. They've done it, and they keep developing that car. They're just a well-oiled machine, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. What I'm doing now, just I mean, there's go on. Sorry, continue.
They have a philosophy, and they stick to that philosophy. Like last year, they saw Ferrari have the best package up to, I think, Singapore, when Mercedes then just outdeveloped them by a country mile. So they've obviously taken that philosophy on board and gone, well, we need the package to be the best it can be, not just one component to be the best.
Yeah. Mercedes are a full package. Drivers are solid. Car is solid. Team itself is solid. They don't lose their heads. It's why they're successful.
Yeah.
They've got experience where they need it.
Well, that's the nice thing at the minute, isn't it? Because Bottas and Hamilton get on well. They're both of a good age, really, still. Not too old. Maybe verging on old, but modern Formula One, it doesn't seem to be such an issue to be a little bit older than usual.
No.
A good working relationship with everybody. That is one happy team.
Yeah.
Which makes a difference.
Yeah, I agree. It does have that kind of symbiosis that runs throughout the team, from driver all the way through to the team back at Brackley. They've done a phenomenal job, and you could obviously say that the threat that Ferrari posed during the pre-testing kind of gave them that motivation just to go, okay, let's move, let's get going, let's keep in front. We've got to do everything we can to keep in front.
Yeah, we're worried about the pre-season testing. Obviously, we don't know the fuel loads or anything else, but they were worried, I think. But they've just done what they needed to do, and they do it well.
Yeah.
There's more we can really say, sir.
No, I think part of me thinks pre-season they were being very cautious because they weren't sure how much Ferrari could develop. But my gut feeling back then was they knew they had a really strong package, and they'd be able to very well compete with Ferrari, if not dominate. But it was depending on how much Ferrari progressed, and clearly haven't.
No.
Yeah.
No, and looking at the split, I mean, it's quite even, to be fair. Hamilton's won 7 qualifying, Bottas 5. Race is 9-3, but there's been a lot of 1-2s there. Podium's 10 and 9 points. We've got a DNF to take into consideration, but, not that far off. As a team, they've pulled their weight. Bottas as well. He might not have had so many wins, but, he's still doing a solid job for Mercedes.
Yeah, I know.
This is why I don't understand why everyone thinks Bottas is going to be got rid of. He is a solid performer. He's been bringing in the points, and he's done better than Vettel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why would anyone want to get rid of him?
If he stays, then does Ocon leave Mercedes? I mean, if he gets a seat, is he going to get a seat next year?
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, in regards to Bottas, he's had the best season of his life. I've got the stats on the board here. Qualifying, Hamilton 7 to Bottas's 5. So it's balanced there pretty much. Yes, Hamilton's finished first 8 times and Bottas has finished first twice, but still 2 wins. He has been giving him a push, and he is the closest rival to the championship. 250 place 188, and as you said, Will, 9-3 on races. Even so, it's still balanced. And I had a chat with Mrs. Tracker about this earlier on, about who do you think would be a Mercedes, Bottas or Ocon. She says Ocon because there's that immediate rush for everyone wanted to get young blood in, the next generation, and she thinks that Toto Wolff doesn't want to let Ocon go. And he deserves a seat. And obviously Bottas has been getting some practice for rallying as well.
I think that Bottas is he did a rally last year. or end last year.
Yeah.
And then he did some this year, but it wasn't a test or anything. It was just him taking a car for a spin. I think he'll be there next year. And what Mercedes could do is loan out Ocon if they can find him a seat.
Williams, get rid of Kubica, put him there.
Could do.
Bit of
Yeah,
money,
I-
bit of
I-
reliability,
I-
get the
experience
car in a
with-
good place.
With Williams, though,
Hang
it's
on,
whether
Henry.
they
I heard Lard, sorry. Lard was speaking as well, sorry.
Get Ocon into a Williams or car for next year, ready in preparation for him and Hamilton maybe in 2021.
Yeah.
This all depends what happens with Perez, I guess, because, engine. Perez is always one of those drivers. You don't know what he's going to do.
I think Perez is going to stay there.
Perez has
Racing Point.
Perez has probably got a seat for life at Racing Point, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Because of the money
If
that
he gets offered
brings.
better,
He
could get offered a better seat.
He could, but does he? He's already buying into their vision of getting towards the front of the midfield at least, anyway. So why not be the driver to do it or to lead that team?
I mean, they could shock us all and get rid of Stroll. Could happen.
Yeah.
They could, but I doubt it.
Strange things have happened.
Exactly. On the Ocon to Williams, I don't really see that happening.
Why
Nah.
not? Why not?
Because I'm going to put this in the most professional way I can. There is possibly a strained friendship there in the fact that Williams weren't really happy with Mercedes for taking Bottas and leaving him high and dry when they did. And that's
Very
why.
Desperate measures. They need money, they need reliability, and they need consistency to develop that car.
They had the choice between Ocon and George Williams, and that's why they picked George Williams, because they can have him on a 2-year, 3-year deal or whatever they've got him on. So they can develop him, and obviously he can help develop the car. And then in 3 years, Mercedes can go, we're going to take him now because it's the end of his contract.
Contracts mean nothing.
Oh, no,
They always
but
get broken. I don't know why people go on about contracts.
No, because it would be clever to put him in that seat because then Mercedes can choose George Russell or Ocon for Mercedes. Because I think Russell's pretty talented and he's just not getting, seen because it's in the slowest car against somebody who's pretty crap. Let's be frank.
Yeah.
And he's driving that car, but you put 2 talented drivers in that car, at least you'd find out who's winning. George is younger.
I think Toto Wolff said he's not going to put him in that seat next year anyway, George Russell. I think he said it's too early for him to put him in that seat.
Oh, yeah, it's not next year, but...
Principles lie anyway, don't we?
Yeah.
Look at Christian Horner.
I think Mercedes will stick with their lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, and then 2021 they may both go, or one may go. Because it'll be up to Hamilton if he wants to go. Fair enough. And obviously, if they want to bring Ocon or George Russell through, then obviously Bottas will have to go.
So you think Hamilton and Bottas will stay next year?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, and watch me be wrong. I'm saying it now.
Well, whether Hamilton likes to admit it or not, he's going for Schumacher's title record.
Yeah.
Really
He's going to stay at
Yeah.
Mercedes.
He is.
I would assume he'd probably win it this year and probably win it next year.
I mean, let's have a look at
Really bad reliability if they didn't win it this year.
Yeah.
It would be a shock.
Let's have a look at the driver breakdowns. This is what we've got here. So stats wise, obviously Lewis Hamilton, obviously 5 world championships. He's got 250 points at this precise moment. This is his 13th season in Formula One. When I was doing the stats, I was quite shocked to read that. And 241 race starts. Career points, he's got 3,268. So he is leading the career points, obviously because Schumacher-wise, it was 10 points tops. The 25 points didn't come in until 2008. 2009. Sorry, 2009 when Button joined McLaren. That's when it went up to 25. So he's leading the points championship in regards to that. But yeah, I think he's aiming for 7 world championships, maybe even 8. And he's on a roll.
He still has plenty of time to do it because He's only 34.
Yep.
Mm.
And if you cast your mind back to the 70s, Graham Hill was, 45 when he died, when he was still racing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were intense cars.
Well, look at Kimi Raikkonen. Yes, he's in the twilight of his career, but he's 39 and he's still
He's
driving.
enjoying it, isn't he?
Fast.
He's enjoying it.
Yeah,
Mm.
he's
Very
still
much
He
so.
said,
he's still fast. He's enjoying it, and that's the thing.
he said it. He said it's a hobby to him now, didn't he?
Yeah. And we'll just have a look at Bottas. So I'll just flick over to Bottas's stats. So he's 29. So he's still got a few years left. Obviously, personally, I don't want to see Bottas leave. I think he's a great number 2 driver, and that's the thing. He's a number 2 driver. He's got 5 first place finishes throughout his career. Total 1,149 points and 188 points this year so far, and he's had 131 starts. He's been in Formula One for 8 seasons. 8 seasons. It's amazing. I went through when I was going through and counting how many seasons drivers have been in. Majority of them have been in 7, 8, or 9 seasons. It's nuts.
I did see a weird stat. This was early this year about Hamilton, and this is. I bet there was one for Bottas. Amount of points gained potential. So how many were available and how many they've scored over their whole career.
All right.
And I think it's around 82% of all points that were available when he's been racing, he's got.
Right.
So
Quite a
That's a
hefty strike
good
rate.
It is.
percentage.
I still have to find that video actually and tag it somewhere. It was really interesting. Schumacher was up there as well, of course. Clark was up there. Mountain races to points. It was really good.
Yeah. So we think collectively, Hamilton and Bottas, it will stay the same layout next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Lard.
Hearing Bottas, I think Bottas will move maybe to Renault.
Right.
Lard.
Because the car is being developed for the future, right? So you've already got one wise head in there in Ricardo. So if Hulkenberg's going from there, what better place to slot your Bottas in, if not to Williams, than into Renault? Help them build that car even further, because we know Bottas can be fast on his day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What better way to help them develop that car even further to come back to potentially championship winning?
I think the only thing that stopped that is the fact that Renault are running out of money. I've seen the thing, it's in Autosport or something like that. They've spent about $1 billion getting back into the sport since Lotus and buying back through and catching up with all the development and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the whole thing over how much Ricciardo's getting paid. I don't think Renault are going to be so fluid with the money where they don't have to be. The simple fact, they've only made a profit this year, I think it was said. Something like that since they've been in F1. So they are struggling, and that's a big name if that's struggling.
They've said, didn't they? They may.
At Silverstone, then I could have bought some it.
They've said, didn't they, a couple of months ago, they may have to increase their spending, but that was before the budget cap came out. So are they going to have 1 year where they spend like 300 million to try and get into the top 3 or 4th or whatever, and then it's pointless. It's pointless them spending 300 million pounds when they've got their budget cap coming in.
Yeah, this was the thing. They were like, is it worth going for the top spot now or just making a profit out of the mid-grid? So at the end of the day, it's a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they need to make money.
That's very true. So, very quickly, lads, do you think it'll be Ocon going in that seat then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
I think Total Wolf really wants him to go into a seat next year, and the key bit is Bottas. What happens to him if he moves? Then Ocon is in that seat, because you're also planning for the future when Hamilton isn't there, and that's not too far away now.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, I think he'll stay with that team and finish with that team. If I'm honest.
I can see him going another 6 years if the car's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Depends what that car does, because that will drive his motivation, because he's got other interests outside of F1 that he really enjoys doing. So It's not like he's short of money. He does it because he loves doing it, and he's not going to go to any other team if he'll provide him with what he needs.
Yeah, that's true. So let's park Mercedes there, because we've gone through them quite a bit. Let's move on to the second place team as it stands in the championship, Ferrari. And boy, oh boy, what a disappointment that team has been this season, eh? They're probably up there with Haas as most disappointing team. If I'm honest. Oh, hello. What's happened there? Miscue Riot is just raided with a party of 9. Hello, Raiders. How the devil are you? All well? Yeah, Ferrari. What has gone wrong? This is
Everything, clearly. The teams are shambles. The pit stops are shambles. The main drivers are shambles. Hashtag shambles F1. I'm being blunt. Sorry. I want to see Ferrari do well, but it's just been an embarrassment.
They've imploded early, haven't they?
Yeah.
They really have, yeah.
I mean, look at it last year. Well, look last year, right? We got to the second half of the season when, Hamilton found the other gear in himself, got really fast, and just blew them out of the water. And what did they do in reply? The team sort of imploded. And every mistake that could happen happened. And it seems that happened since Bahrain?
Yeah.
Well, Australia wasn't exactly was it?
No, exactly. That's the thing as well. It's like the testing was very flattering to them. And that's it. That's the only thing I can really think of to say about Ferrari positive.
Yeah, that is true.
I think they've messed it up themselves in the fact that they keep hiring and firing team principals like hot dinners. And at the minute, obviously he's running the team and also looking after the aero department and the engine department. So, and I know obviously Benotto is an engine guy, so why not just put him back in charge of the engine, hire somebody to run the aero, and put a team principal, even if it's from a different series, who's won, in another series, and put him in charge and leave it as that and get on with it.
Like McLaren have done.
Yes. Yeah. Just do that and leave it.
It's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea at all.
That's the best idea for them, but because they know best, this will happen. They'll probably sack him, put somebody in from the car department who has no clue about F1, and then we're back to square one again.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, let's have a look at these stats I've got on here with head-to-heads, because we're going through head-to-heads first, and then we'll have a look at drivers in a second. Vettel and Leclerc. Qualifying, the most balanced out of all the teams, 6 all in regards to qualifying. Both of them had finishes second. Vettel has 3 second places. Leclerc has 1. Points very balanced again, 156 to 132. Vettel leads the race. The race is 8-4, which means Vettel has a total of 4-1. But again, a very, very balanced. This is not where we expected to see Ferrari, considering they came off good results last season. 12 races in, not winning any races. Obviously, we are talking about this, but what about Vettel's attitude in the first part of the season? That wasn't exactly the best, was it?
Give you a bit of a comparison. This time last year, Vettel had won 4 races.
4 races, wow.
And last year, total points for Vettel was 320 versus Kimi Raikkonen's 251. They're not even going to get close to that this year.
No, they're not. They really aren't.
So where's his form gone?
Is it his form or is it just the car?
I was just about to say, is it the car? I don't think the car suits his style.
I mean, yes, Vettel's messed up at least 3 times that I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
But when he's been on form and he's been driving well, that car just will not beat or pass or generally perform how he wants it to.
Also, if you think about it, Charles has had 2 DNFs and he's got 132 points so far versus Vettel's no DNFs and 156 points.
That's much more worrying.
Yeah, exactly. And he keeps making mistakes again.
This all stems from last year when Vettel was spotted talking to Christian Horner quite a lot and said hello to his friends in Red Bull because he wasn't the atmosphere within Ferrari last year didn't help him settle. I don't think he's probably ever settled in Ferrari, and it doesn't help that they keep changing team principles and this, that, and other. And maybe him as a leader doesn't fit with how Ferrari operates.
I think he's gone in with rose-tinted glasses. He looked at his mentor and hero Schumacher. I want to replicate what he's done in Ferrari. Ferrari's a team where I want to be. Everyone knew he wanted to go to Ferrari, and it's just not worked out like that at all.
No.
Whether he's got no leadership at all in that team.
Yeah, it's when Schumi was there, he was going there when he had Ross Brawn, his friend there, and he had Jean Todt, his friend there, and he was just in every department. Do you know what I mean? He was leading that team from the garage. I don't see Vettel doing that. I don't think Vettel's that kind of, do you know what I mean? That kind of driver to sort of say to the aero, can you do this or can you do that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the car doesn't suit his style. They got rid of the understeer, and then he's like Hamilton. He likes the car that he can throw into the corner, and the back end's going to stick. So these they brought to get rid of the understeer meant that the back end just snaps all the time, and so he's got no confidence in that car at all.
Problem is they're following other cars, isn't it? And that's unsettling the car. They've done what Mercedes used to do, and that was have a car that can drive without any other car in front of them, and they just fly. It's like it's completely switched now, and they can't follow anything and stick to the tarmac.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can't add anything to that really. Yeah.
I think what Vettel needs, or what he's probably doing right now, is just having a break away from F1. He's probably got his phone switched off. He's probably not looking even at F1. He just needs a break and come back refreshed and just go, this is what it is. I'm just going to go for it.
Well, as Michael Patterson...
It doesn't matter if he crashes, because guess what? They're already so far behind. It doesn't really matter now. He's not in love with the sport. He just loves driving the car.
Well, as Michael Patterson one point out, he's hit the nail on the head here in regards to the statement. Vettel has been the big underperformer for me. His recovery drive at Hockenheim is the best drive he's had this season.
And do you know what he said after that drive?
What?
He said after the first lap, he said, I thought I should be higher up than what I should have been. And he was going to go for it. And then he realised, actually, what I need to do is just play it safe because of the conditions. And that's how he got what he got. And obviously, when it dried out, that Ferrari just came alive. If there had been 5 more laps, would he have caught Verstappen? Because he was flying, wasn't he? He was the quickest car out there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, let's have a look. We've got Vettel here. These are just stats here. So he's. I mean, like I say, he's fourth in the championship with 156 points. If we have a look at the teams, like I say, there's only between Leclerc and Vettel. There's what's that? That's there's 24 points between them. That's one race win, but separating the two of them. I mean, Leclerc, I think he's been kind of a little breath of fresh air for Ferrari. He certainly sent the.
He's adapted his driving style to the car a lot better than Haas.
Yeah, every time he's made a mistake, he's beating himself up about it, but he's learned from it.
Yeah, it's that car is. I think even new tracker would struggle in that car, and that's not. I'm not taking the piss, but do you know what I mean? I think it's that crap that it's like a torpedo on the straights. It's quick on the straights, but anywhere else, it's just awful.
There goes that explicit tag for the podcast now. But yeah, I know what you mean by that. Yeah, it is kind of the car itself is suffering because the aerodynamics are just nowhere near what it should be for a front team. I mean, yeah, go on, Will.
There's like, I can think of like 2 rookie mistakes, perhaps, like Monaco shredding his floor completely. Yes, he lost his temper, but that's not a good sign. It's, he knows not to race back to the pits and completely total his car. What can happen. One safety car, he could have been 5th and really been like great recovery drive. And Azerbaijan just going plumb straight into the barrier. His performance isn't tidy, unlike which has been really.
Yeah,
you've got Cannon. Perhaps
he's a rough diamond, but he can going to get spotted a lot more because of where he is. But if he keeps doing if he drives well, his mistakes will be forgiven. If he's one win behind Vettel, and he should have won Bahrain, so he would have ended up with more points than Vettel at this point.
For example, Verstappen.
Yes.
Yeah.
From Monaco last year, he's been the most improved driver.
Because you could almost go Obi-Wan on Monaco was any different when I was his age.
Oh dear.
Ferrari just need to go right. If Vettel's on number 1, we build the car around him, like we'll have done this year, and since building the car around Verstappen. Ferrari just need to go. If he's on number 1, let's give him the car that he needs, and let's give him the tools to go out and win races and be up there for the championship.
Well, they've said that he's the number 1 driver.
Yeah.
But clearly they're not.
But they're not backing him, are they?
No.
They're not backing him.
No
and
one's backing either of them. That's their problem. They can't make a decision and stick to it.
So they can't boot Vettel, can they? Because they've got nobody to go in that seat.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. If Bianchi was still with us, then it would have been Bianchi and Leclerc in that car.
Do you think Bianchi was fast enough for that car, though?
Who?
Bianchi? You think he was talented?
I think he would have been up there winning races. I think he showed enough that he would have run races.
Bianchi was mentor, though, wasn't he?
Yes, whether the car would have been good enough for him, I don't know. But I think that they still would have gotten really well as a team, as Mercedes do, and I think that would have helped him.
See, Leclerc, he admitted himself that the reason he was doing it, he was doing it for the memory of Jules Bianchi, because Jules Bianchi was his godfather. And that was, he believed that he was going to get the drive in Ferrari. And he wanted to do that just to honour his godfather's memory, really. I'm sure Lard will agree on that one. If from what I've said, yeah, because and you know what, for a diamond in the rough, I think he has mistakes, but look at what happened with Max Verstappen. He had mistakes at Red Bull. Look at Hamilton. Yeah,
every driver will make a mistake. Yeah, every driver will make a mistake. It's how they learn from that mistake will determine if they're going to be a great driver or just a good driver.
I think he's got a good mental attitude, especially after what happened in Bahrain when the engine just gave up on him. What was it? It was the MGU H, wasn't it, that went, and he lost. He went from first to third. Thankfully for both Renaults retiring on the same lap, the safety car came out and he preserved his third place. He ended up with a podium, but he had a good mental attitude, good kind of positivity and awareness. He was disappointed, but he knew that
it wasn't his fault.
Yeah,
he done everything right. It was just the car let him down. And even Verstappen said after that race, I didn't deserve, if that safety car had come out, yes, he would finish third. But he said, I don't deserve to finish third. He was nowhere near the rest, the cars there. That race, we didn't deserve to third. So, it's a learning curve. Hopefully, next year, Ferrari can get their act together.
So, I think the problem is Ferrari itself, because Red Bull quite forgiving, like they've been with Gasly, give him time, support. Don't do that. They get around their drivers and support them.
No.
He's been able to come back as strong as he has.
And that was a really Benny's downfall last year, wasn't it? Was the fact that they didn't want anything to do with the media, so that gets everybody against you in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Then the way he just robbed the driver the wrong way. And then the fact that Ferrari said on race day at Monza, "Oh, Kimi, we're not keeping you for next year." We went straight down to Peter Salmon and said, "Have you got to drive for me next year? Because I'll come and drive for you." They do it all the wrong way.
Yeah.
The problem with Ferrari, it's an institution and it's just revered in Italy, so no one can do wrong.
Yeah,
They're in the
That's their
same
problem.
They're in the same problem as Red Bull. They've got no drivers coming up particularly to replace anybody. Leclerc was it.
Yeah.
Who have you got? Giovinazzi after performance? Would you? You might as well put Kusa in the seat.
Yeah.
they could put Kvyat in the seat.
Trace.
They could easily put Kvyat in that seat and just say you're number 2 driver from now on, and Charles Leclerc be on number 1. And Kvyat will probably do a better job than Giovinazzi.
So we're going to wrap this up because we've been talking about Ferrari for about 15 minutes now. But do we think, in regards to seats wise, Vettel and Leclerc will still be there next season?
They've said yes, haven't they?
They got no choice.
The contracts are fixed for next year, but like Luke said earlier, contracts not always permanent.
No,
Yeah,
but they ain't got much choice. I reckon they'll stick to them anyway.
I've still got a hunch that Vettel might retire at the end of the season, and I've said that from day one, and I'm staying with that. I'm not going to change my mind now, but I've still got a hunch that Vettel might retire at the end of this season.
I think Vettel give it one more season, and if they're just as bad as this year, he'll fuck off somewhere else. Pardon my French. He'll go to another sport. He'll go to another
explicit tag again.
Yeah, he'll go. He might go and try another motorsport because he knows he watched a lot of motorsport outside of F1.
Mm-hmm.
He's quite knowledgeable on that. I reckon he might go somewhere else.
Know anyone? Deja vu?
Because if Vettel does leave, who have Ferrari got now?
Well, they would then go for. You would think they would go for Ricciardo or Hulkenberg, wouldn't you? Or
they're locked into a big contract.
Yeah, but from 2021 they're out of contract, aren't they? I think.
No, Vettel wins this one.
No one touches him.
No.
Hulkenberg's not going anywhere. They won't touch Hulkenberg. He's too old now.
Yeah.
No, they won't.
But the only person they go for is Ricciardo, surely.
No, Ricciardo will stay at the team.
What about next year?
Sainz, I could see. Well, not next year. No, next year, Sainz and Norris are locked in, aren't they? So,
and they're happy where they are.
Yeah, they are happy where they are.
It'll be 2021 when a lot of teams make their driver moves.
I think not an awful lot will happen this year. It will happen next year, like we've seen earlier.
Yeah, I agree with Mike on that.
And to be fair, depending on I think we'll talk about Renault in a minute, and obviously McLaren are linked with the Renault with the engine, but I think there's some things going on behind the scenes with Renault with the new changes coming up, and I think that people, particularly the McLaren boys, again, we'll talk about that later, they may want to stay where they are. Let's move on to the next team, Red Bull. Guys, with that Honda engine that Alonso called the GP2 engine, wow.
They've got there, haven't they? They've got there, haven't they?
Yeah, and having a look at.
I think it's quite there in terms of brake horsepower compared to the other three, but in that car is probably, you'd say, the second best on the grid.
It is now.
Yeah,
I think they're going to struggle at the second half of the season because they put an awful lot of beans and they maxed that engine out the last couple of races, and they were worried it was going to blow.
It's still the best chassis in Formula One. Simple as that. Adrian Newey has done his work yet again. But it did take a while for it to get the tyres to work.
They struggled at the start of the season. They struggled. And Verstappen said that, didn't he? They struggled badly. He just did the best with a dodgy car. A quick, dodgy car, let's be honest. But, you know.
This is the thing. Is Red Bull that's fast or Max? The car
point.
To be fair.
You think he's Alonso in the Red Bull?
Yeah. I don't think that Red Bull's that good. The engine sounds like a bag of nails. Aero, we've seen, interesting lines taken by the Red Bulls because it can't do what the Mercedes and the Ferrari can do. And the unit keeps having small issues now and again, and it will cost them because it will just blow up in their face.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they package that engine tighter as they did with the Renault engine, then it may blow up or come out. And then are they going to go into the media and start slagging off Honda, knowing full well that Ferrari and Mercedes won't give them an engine?
Lard, what do you think, buddy?
I do think Verstappen is wringing the neck out of that Red Bull. But that Red Bull is fast. You know, the Honda engine has improved. Whether it sounds horrible or not, you know, it is a better engine than it was in the McLaren. And I think being in Toro Rosso is helping it because they've got 4 cars to help develop that engine.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, you can look at the stats between Gasly and Verstappen there, and you can see the difference.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, Gasly just doesn't suit him at all. It just didn't. You know, he sort of went up there and choked.
Oh, yeah. But as I say, we'll go through Gasly's... I'll bring Gasly's card up. But as we're going through this, I mean, this is his 3rd season in Formula 1. But going through the results this year, this is his final standings for all races, okay? So we've got it as follows. 11th, 8th, 6th, retired in Azerbaijan, 6th in Spain, 5th in Monaco, 8th in Canada, 10th in France, 7th in Austria, 4th in Britain, his only top 5, well, his second top 5, sorry, retired but classified 14th in Germany and 6th in Hungary. Not good enough for Red Bull, demoted accordingly, stripped of his seat accordingly. Because I know we went back a few podcasts ago where we said it was around about Spain, well, around about, where was it? It's about Austria, Britain, where he said he had a couple of good results, but a couple of good results doesn't show for the rest of the season. And being the number 2 driver, I mean, what was the comparison on Max Verstappen and Danny Rick last year, 2018?
That's not very fair, though, is it? Because Ricciardo had like 9 DNFs.
But take the DNFs away, Ricciardo would drive consistently that car. Charles Leclerc's had 2 retirements. It's not Charles Leclerc, wrong one. Pierre Gasly's had 2 retirements. The rest he's finished.
If they'd have kept Ricciardo, they could be second in the championship right now.
I mean,
because he would have got a lot more points than Gasly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just going to throw it out there. If they did, and Ricciardo said after Hungary, it was down between 2 teams, and it was between Renault and Red Bull. And he said it didn't come down to money. There was other things going on in the background. I'll try and find it for later on. But he said it wasn't down to money. There was a few things, not concerns wasn't the word, but he had a few issues with like the Honda engine. Fair enough, and other bits and bobs, and he obviously decided to go. But if they'd have managed to keep him, they'd be second.
Let's have a look. Danny.
There was no like hatred or anything to Danny Rick when he left because he really didn't want to leave, but he had to look at it logically and what was the best for his career.
Yeah.
And at the time, you wouldn't put it past him to think that Honda engine was going to be a bag of nails because of its track record. But the Japanese have finally succumbed to actually like opening up their minds a bit more and actually trying to fit that around a car instead of the car's got to fit around their engine.
Yeah, and as Will said, that for having 4 cars instead of 2 also helps bringing the engine up to speed.
Yep.
Having a look at the Danny Rick's performance. This is up to Hungary last year. Okay, same principle. Okay, 4th retired, win, retired. 5th win, 4th retired. 5th retired, 4th. Nothing lower than P5.
How many points was that?
Oh, geez. I can't work that one out quickly enough.
Oh, my God, man.
I'm looking
at it all.
No. If you want to do the maths, do the maths.
Oh, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. I'm just curious as to how many points it was. That was all.
Okay, well, let's see. I'll do the maths whilst you guys are talking. Go on.
Look.
You talk away. Go on.
For most of that, Verstappen was still not driving that well. So Danny Rick was driver number one, really, would you say?
Yeah.
He was the one that was performing, and Max was the one that was struggling.
Yeah.
You'd have to look
Because Max
Wait,
retired
in that
3
time as well.
times in that period last year.
Something like that.
And we
Max
forget
had
that-
retired through exactly the same amount of times as Danny Rick, 4 times.
4
Really?
times.
I
4
thought it
times.
was
Retired in
4 times.
Bahrain with Danny Rick. Double retirement in Azerbaijan because they collided with each other. And then he retired in Britain, retired but classified 15th, and he retired in Hungary.
Yeah, classified though, so he didn't actually not finish.
Yeah, but that's the same as Gasly's retired but classified 14th in Germany.
That's what the FIA say though.
Yeah, but he's still out the points, so there's no points there.
No. The car doesn't cross the line. It doesn't finish the race.
Thank
That is
you.
the most simple concept of racing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Stick to the FIA rules. We don't make them, they do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to add up points. 12 plus.
Stop talking to us then.
Yeah.
You were talking stats. I had the stats up on my board, so I thought I'd read them out
No,
whilst
you
I
were
was
supposed
doing
to
that.
work the amount of points Daniel Ricciardo had.
All
Get
right.
on
Yeah.
with it.
We all forget that towards the end of last season, Red Bull decided to take the Renault C-spec engine, which Renault didn't want because they knew it was unreliable. They knew it was faster, but they knew it was unreliable. And Red Bull didn't have anything to lose because they weren't going to catch second and they weren't going to get caught by 4, which should have been Haas. I'm just going to say that now. So they took the risk on it.
Right. Points wise, got it.
Right
Pierre
on.
Gasly, currently 63 points. Yeah? Driver 2.
Yeah.
Pierre Gasly, 63 points. Danny Rick, this time last year, 118 points.
And how many points are they behind Ferrari right now? And I know the answer to that question. It's 44.
Then why do you ask me the question?
Well, if they'd have kept Ricciardo, surely they would be second in the championship. I just wanted to know how many points he's got compared to Gasly.
Well, 100 it's
Almost doubled it.
it's 50
Yeah.
it's 55 points extra, yeah.
So they would be 11 points in front of Ferrari. If he'd have
Yeah.
got the same results as last year, they'd be 11 points clear of Ferrari in second then.
Yeah.
In the championship.
Absolutely.
I mean, Ricciardo did say that he didn't see it from the inside that the team favoured one driver. So, Red Bull, I should say that.
Red Bull was a
Right.
different team last year, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a hard comparison to make because they were in a much more competitive place, but the car wasn't as good. It's a really weird place. Like everybody's moved on as of Red Bull, but they've found themselves in a different place to where they were last year.
Official Ghost, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on to Terminal Podcast. Yes, Will, I agree because obviously they had the Renault power and they've got the Honda power now, and the Honda power is down. What did they say? It was about 30 or 40 brake horsepower on Renault.
Yeah, so they've got a slower car, but it's still faster than Ferrari.
Hmm.
But it's not. It's really strange.
That car has
Field
got
day.
that car's got some good race pace compared to Ferrari. Compared to Ferrari, it's got really good race pace.
Let's face it, if it wasn't Verstappen in that car, they would not have had any good qualifying this year.
No.
Correct.
It cannot qualify.
Yeah.
Ferrari and Mercedes can qualify. They got party mode, speed, they got the drivers to do it.
Yeah.
You take an ass that Red Bull, they would be nowhere in qualifying whatsoever.
Here's a question for you. Hypothetically, if Albon doesn't do as well as they hoped, who gets that seat next year?
That was actually going to be my next question. Who are we predicting is going to be in the seats?
I can read your mind.
Literally, I've written down predictions there on there, so you know. I know you guys. If you guys are watching on Movo, you cannot see what I've written down. So I'm going to put that onto the big camera. There we go. Predictions camera. Red Bull Racing. There is there.
I can see
It's
that
all
on
there.
my screen. Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, we need to figure out who's it going to be. Who do we think it will be? Albon, or do we think there'll be someone else?
I don't think it'll be Kvyat. I don't think they'll take as much as he's improved this year with less crashing. I still don't think they'll take him back because I think, as people have said, they wouldn't.
They're too proud.
Yes. Yeah.
And what Marco said, he's no good for Red Bull. They'll stick to it.
Yeah. So do you think it'll be Albon? They'll give him a chance.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep with Albon for this year. For next year.
Yeah. The momentum will be with him as well, though, won't it? Which is something Gasly now has none of. And then they'll have to go to top performing at Toro Rosso, which isn't fair because he's not driven his car.
I think they've done what they normally do. It's the Red Bull thing in it to sort of sack somebody or demote him, but they've got nobody coming through, so they could have. I know he's not done that well.
I mean,
they could have maybe.
At the minute, having a look who's there. You've got Patricio Award, who's in F2. They've got Lucas Auer, who's in Super Formula. Yeah, the only one that's got it is Patricio Award, who's in F2 at the minute.
And if they were going to put him anywhere, they'd put him in a Toro Rosso.
Yeah. So that means I think I'm going to go with Albon. Albon.
I think Albon also will be there next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if he doesn't do well, there's nobody else they can put in there, is there?
I've heard rumor they were going to put Viet in just for the Russian race into Red Bull for like a publicity stunt. Russian driver, Russian race, just to see how he'd do in the Red Bull. That is a rumor floating around.
So do we all think Albon then?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Right. We're going to wrap it up there because it's 9 o'clock, or just after 9, according to Will's clock. We've got 7 teams to go. We've got 55 minutes when we come back from our break. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Stay tuned. We'll be back in 5. Bye. We're back for part 2, and we've got 7 teams to go through in very little time. But if you are joining us for the first time since we've come back, welcome to the Turn 1 podcast. You've joining me, Will, Lard, Emma, and Henry. Gentlemen and lady, hello.
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 Hello. Hello. Let's look at, so we've talked about the top 3. Let's talk about the best of the rest now. Let's have a look at McLaren. Who would have thought that they would be best of the rest this time last year?
They were my surprise of the year. I really wasn't expecting them to be in this position.
Yeah.
Surprise and performance of the year, I think.
Yeah.
I think what Zach Brown did is he was a marketing guy and he didn't know how to run a team. So he saw where the team needed maybe more engineers or whatever, and he went out and got what they needed. And then he went, I need to find somebody who's maybe won another series, and then he got, obviously, is it Andres? Where his name is?
Seidel.
That's it. Got him in, and just left him to run the team.
He's done the right thing, though, isn't he, as the boss? Gone, I can't do this. Let's buy somebody to do it.
Yeah.
I've got no problem with that. At least he knew.
What makes a good leader.
And I think McLaren, the hierarchy of McLaren, if he said to him, look, I need this or I need that, go on then, off you go. Do whatever you need to do to get us back up there.
Yeah.
The thing is about Zach, he's still very good at the promo side and the media facing because he's very businessy. He knows what he's doing, but he's very friendly with it.
Very personable, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him, but he couldn't run the team. And this, Seidel's also doing a good job and isn't as media friendly, I'd say, but still does a good job.
He just talks to the media, doesn't he? He does talk to the media. Maybe he's not as much as Zach Brown, but
it's the shine on his face, if you know what I mean. He doesn't look excited about the Formula One, whereas Zach did. He's more serious about it, which isn't a bad thing.
no, that could be a good thing for him.
It's just the vibe. He changes from him, but it's still good.
Ferrari need to learn from McLaren because McLaren used to be very clinical, obviously Ron Dennis, etc., and now they've kind of like got a bit of Red Bull about them, a bit of fun, but there's an awful lot of seriousness into what they're doing, and they've got the right people in the right place.
Yeah.
They've also, sorry, Will, to cut you off. They've also got 2 drivers that are willing to work in the sim. which will help the team develop that car and have developed that car.
The only problem with this team at the minute is reliability.
Yeah.
You got the weird brake thing that happened in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Carlos Sainz had an issue at some point as well, I think. Was that an engine issue? Or
That
gearbox?
was turbo failure in the
Australia.
first one, yeah. First
Turbo.
race.
And then Lando had one as well, didn't he? That was a gearbox issue or something.
Hydraulic issue. Yeah.
There you go. So basically, it's the hardware that's going wrong, which isn't the driver's fault. Is it the team's fault? It's probably 50-50, let's be honest, design and manufacturing quality.
I also think, well, to be fair, on the engineering side of things, I think it's a stroke of genius to get Pat Fry back involved. You know, they let Tim Goss and Matt Morris go for all the right reasons. For the bad performance, they kept hold of Peter Prodromou to design the car, who is a graduate of Adrian Newey's school, but brought in Pat Fry. And Pat Fry has worked well with that team, and it's incredible to see where they've come from. You know, as a McLaren fan, I am absolutely over the moon that we are best of the rest. We are on our way back up. I don't expect race victories.
Who else did you bring in? Didn't you bring in somebody from Toro Rosso as well on the design front?
Yeah, we also got James Key. James Key.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah. It's good to see what he can bring to the team as well.
Yeah, I imagine he'll come more into effect next year, where he's sort of season there.
It'd be good to see what he can do, because now we can see his talents. If the Toro Rosso car is a lot of Red Bull, we can see his talents at McLaren. And if it was his Toro Rosso that he's designed, then they've got a really good, another good person there, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, to be fair, most of the midfield solid car-wise, apart from like Williams, I'd say.
Yeah.
Just in different respects.
Bit of a points comparison. So Carlos has scored 58 points so far for McLaren. Last year, throughout the whole season, Alonso scored 50. So it just goes to show how far they've come in half a season.
Yeah, it's good to see him back up there, though. As a neutral, it's good to see him up there.
Yeah, that was a lot of reliability last year, though, wasn't it? I remember Alonso always DNFing at somewhere or other.
Yeah.
Which sucks, because he really needed a good drive that year.
6 DNFs. And
Just
2 not classified finishes.
So 8 out of 20.
Yeah.
But then you can't take anything away from Sainz, because, you know, in 10 races or 12 races, he's already beat the points total.
Yeah.
And he's only had 1 DNF.
Yeah.
In the 12 races we have, McLaren scored 62 points last season in total. Whereas this season, they are, like I say, they're best of the rest. They've got their 20 points ahead with 82. So,
but this is what we said, though, isn't it? Zach Brown knew he knew that he could do the marketing side of the team. He just didn't know how to run the team, and he obviously said to the shareholders, "I need to get some people in," and they've just gone, "If you need to go and get key personnel, go and do it." And it's not like they've gone to Ferrari or tried to take somebody from Ferrari or whatever. They've gone, "Oh well, he was good at Toro Rosso, we'll take him." Somebody from the midfield.
Ferrari.
Well, I'll just, you know what I mean? They haven't gone towards the top 3 teams. They've taken from around them to make sure that they're in front of everybody else.
I mean, I put these down as my top 2 drivers of the season, Norris and Sainz. I think they're brilliant. They're a breath of fresh air for the team, and the fact that they're fighting like mad to help. They're working together, help bring this car up to spec.
They seem to get on really well as well.
Yeah.
They're the best in the midfield.
They seem to like have a joke and a laugh, to be honest. And that's a bit of fresh air, that they can be pally and friendly. They don't have to spend time together to be pals, but do you know what I mean? They can go off and do their own thing, but they're always good friends as well.
They know a lot about each other, though. If you watch them on Instagram or YouTube, you can tell they know a lot about each other, so they spend a lot of time together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're probably at the factory together.
Yeah. That's if Lando's not at home racing on his own simulator.
I should say he's live right now.
No,
I'm sorry to say that.
Well, of course, we have got Carlos Sainz, who's the smooth operator. Smooth operator.
I think it's better than you, Tracker.
I
We've tuned into that dodgy radio station again.
Well, look. I think Red Bull made a mistake in letting him go.
Yep.
I think Renault wanted to keep him, but Red Bull were just going to be chargers and go, no, we're not going to deal with you.
Can you imagine Carlos Sainz in Gasly's seat right now?
Oh, that would be good. I'm so same here.
Because he was beating Toro Rosso. So
I've always rated Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, same here.
I like the family. Carlos Sainz Senior was just as good, but in a different aspect.
Yeah, I like Sainz has got there for. Yes, he might have had his dad as a famous rally driver. Was it? It was rally, wasn't it? He was a rally driver.
Yeah.
But he never went into Formula One. This is a different kettle of fish in Formula One, and he's done it impressively well. I've liked Sainz from the start.
Carlos has got that with talent, pure
talent.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's genuine motorsport in the family, not my dad was an F1 driver, give me a seat.
Yeah. It's refreshing to, like I say, it's really good to see him. They both got a bright future in the sport.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whether it's with McLaren or not, I don't know, because we can't say what's going to happen in 2021. But
I think this year they're tied in. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased about
going anywhere. They're happy where they are as well.
I'm glad that they made the announcement weeks ago. It's before silly season even started, just to get it out there and go, they're here, they're ours. You can't have them. Jog on.
Was coming.
I don't really think that those two would go anywhere anyway.
No.
But it's just that security that they can build on that driver pairing.
Yeah.
And as I say,
it's good security for them as well, that they can see the progress the team's going to be making.
And here's the thing, because Toro Rosso were keen on Lando Norris last year, and that's why McLaren put him in the seat. How much are McLaren grateful for that sort of interest from Toro Rosso right now? Do you know what I mean?
I mean, Lando Norris, first season in Formula One. What's he got? He's got 24 points on the board already. He's a credit to the team. He's a credit to the sport. I think he's a brilliant driver. He's got that potential to go on to be one of the greats.
He was absolutely stonking last year in F2. Absolutely stonking.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? Neither of these drivers were in McLaren last year. This is a driver pairing, and they've hit the ground running. Perfect.
It's the first time since 2007 that McLaren have had an all-new lineup. The last time that happened was when Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso came in.
And they managed that situation so badly. Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
That was 11 years ago.
Yeah, should we move on?
Yeah. So we know those two are locked in, so there's no point debating them.
No.
The last thing to point out is just their head-to-heads. Norris has out-qualified Sainz 8-4. The finish, Sainz has got 2 fifth finishes and Norris has got 6. 58 points to 24. The race 9-3. Yeah, Norris has had 3 DNFs and Sainz has had 1. So it's even though the stats say 3-1 in favour of Sainz, it's still a very balanced team. I think.
Yeah. Norris will only get better.
Yes.
But like you said, 3 DNFs. We've had tyres going off in France. In other circumstances, which means Norris has lost places.
Yeah.
Not so much his racecraft.
Exactly. And I think both of them, Norris will get better and that will help push Sainz as well. So they're both working. There's that good synergy between them, isn't it?
And hopefully with the budget cap, McLaren won't have to cut their spending, depending on how much they spend.
No, I don't think. I think they're the ones that have been pushing for the budget cap. So I think they're going to be fine.
I think a lot of midfield teams have been pushing for it, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of the midfield teams have been pushing for it.
We'll cover that in a different podcast, I'm sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's going to be a long debate.
Yeah.
So moving swiftly on, very quickly, we're going to talk about the other Red Bull team, Toro Rosso. Because I am going to call them another Red Bull team because Toro Rosso in Italian is Red Bull. So Danny Kvyat and Alex Albon. Let's swing up their head-to-head, shall I? After I finish loading them. It always helps if I actually load them first before I actually say, let's bring up the head-to-heads. Let's do that. There we go. So this was how it was. So Kvyat and Albon was 7-5 in qualifying. Kvyat had that third place finish in that chaotic German Grand Prix. Albon's highest finish was 6th, 27 points to 16, mostly due to the third place finish. Kvyat outraced Albon 8 races to 4. So, yeah, I'm going to say this. Not bad for the rookie. You can
All
see,
the rookies have done well, though, haven't they?
Yeah.
All the rookies have done well this year.
yeah. I think he's been I hope he does well at Red Bull. Simple as that. I hope he does well as well as Red Bull, and I hope he just doesn't crumble under the pressure. I don't think he will, because he's in.
Well, they've already sacked him once, haven't they? In the junior program, they've already sacked him. Well,
Yeah. I think Toro Rosso have been solid. You could say Kvyat hitting the McLarens was his only mistake all season.
Mm-hmm.
Albon, a few rough edges, but nothing I'd call a major mistake. The car's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky to get a podium, maybe, but you've got to be lucky in F1, right?
Yeah.
they're not going to be developing the car because obviously they've lost whatever his name is to McLaren.
Yeah. Well, I mean, developing the car, Toro Rosso never usually do that, particularly, do they?
No.
No,
Well, all the year and maybe an engine upgrade here and there.
he's always gone in slow circuits as well. The Toro Rosso, like Monaco.
Yeah.
Because power isn't king.
Yeah.
That's how they can be more successful. But they've both drivers have finished in the top 10 5 times so far this season, which is pretty impressive. Good
Especially for
consistency.
Especially for
Yeah.
Kvyat. But then maybe that year away has done him the world of good.
Yeah, maybe it has.
The year at Ferrari, being a sim driver, has probably done him the world of good.
I
'Cause
think
he's not
that's the
the
thing,
limelight.
though. It's been in a good team and doing good work.
Mm.
He's had a year off doing like Ocon is at the minute, sort of simming now and again and just sort of hanging around the circuit. If he had put some work in,
Also, the fact he's a new dad. He's a dad this year, isn't he? He was a dad back in Germany.
His dad,
wasn't he?
his baby was born
Yeah.
at Hockenheim. When he was at Hockenheim.
Yeah. So I think he's just. I think that time that he had he's probably sat in that year off whilst he's sitting in the sim going, I messed up big time. I need to change my mindset, and he's come back in with a better mindset. Yes, the collisions with the McLarens. One incident in what?
12 races?
12, yeah. 12 races.
and I mean, it was the first, second corner instance. So,
Yeah.
if there was going to be an incident, it was going to be there, really, wasn't it? Let's be fair. Still his fault, in my opinion, but everybody's going to have one bad race, aren't they? Like we said earlier, nobody's perfect.
He said, I think, I'll probably quote this wrong. He said, there's certain things in your life you can change and certain things you can't change. If you change the things that you can change to make yourself a better person, then do it. And he's obviously changed something about himself to pick up a third place or at Hockenheim or whatever else. He must have done enough for Toro Rosso to take him back when they could have gone for anybody else, or Red Bull could have gone for anybody else.
Yeah.
Barring Verline, who France top wanted, but Red Bull weren't going to have, even though he wasn't Mercedes anymore, Mercedes driver.
So, yeah. I don't think there's anything else really to add to this because we had this big discussion in Red Bull. Do we think?
Yeah.
Do we think the drivers are still going to stay the same next year? Now that they've got not Albon, Gasly in there, do you think it'll be Kvyat and Gasly next season?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
don't think much is going to change personally, so I'm going to say that they'll stay until next year.
I kind of agree with Mick, but if Gasly doesn't start performing, then I could see Red Bull getting rid of him.
I've got both Wills. I've got one hesitant and one with a maybe. Let's go with maybe Will. Mr. Lard.
I don't know. I think Kvyat might not be there next year. I don't know.
Okay. What makes you
It's a hard one to call.
It
Depends
is.
what they do for the second half of the season. I think the next few races will be critical as to what happens to their career. I don't think the summer will decide it.
Yeah.
I
Because
think
now it's a case. It's just a case of the Toro Rosso is the land of the failed Red Bull drivers.
Yeah. And test parts for the main team.
Yeah.
it's whether Kvyat wants to stay there, obviously gets the opportunity, or whether he wants to cut ties and go somewhere else. If that opportunity came up to him.
Yeah, this is the thing. If he wants a better race car, he's going to have to leave Red Bull.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in a solid seat as it is. Another season wouldn't harm him.
No.
Wait till the regulation change. I think all the Red Bull drivers will stay in Red Bull. I'm going to say that. Like, Albon might be switched back out or something like that. But it's basically going to be the same.
So we think it's going to be the same. No problems.
Yes, I think they'll keep it as it is.
Okay.
The only one that's probably under pressure is Gasly.
Okay. Well, let's have a look at our next team, and it's a certain Mr. Henry's favourite team here. Let's talk about them. It's that team that was striving for third place this year, Renault.
Fourth, wasn't it? I think he said they wanted fourth this year again.
Yeah, fourth.
Fourth tracker, come on.
Well, you said Ferrari were the biggest disappointment of the season. Renault come a close third.
Third.
Definitely third. Let's have a look at their heads-to-heads. So Danny Rick, since joining against Nico Hulkenberg, he's out-qualified 8-4. Danny Rick's highest position finish is 6th, 1-7 twice for Hulkenberg. Favourite number, isn't it? 7. 22 points to 17 and 6 races to 4. Both of them have double retirements in Bahrain and in Germany. So, which is what Crofty got wrong. He said first double retirements is in 2017. Sorry, they both didn't finish in Bahrain. I don't care if they were classified. They did not finish. They caused a safety car. So, Danny Rick leads 4-0 on that one. But yeah, what a disappointment for a team that was fighting with Haas last year to be best of the rest, to be slipping down the grid to 6th.
I think Haas should have finished fourth last year. If they hadn't lost those points that Grosjean got at Italy, they would have finished fourth. Because they were the better race pace car last year.
They're also disqualified in the US for fuel, for using too much, for using over 105 kilos of fuel, weren't they? By a few mil. Was it a few?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think though that Haas were probably the fourth best car last year.
Yeah, but we're talking about Renault and how they've fallen from grace. McLaren have definitely shown them up. Same engine. They've gone, right, this is what we can do. Boom. And look at Toro Rosso. I know Kvyat's result has kind of elevated them above, and we might see that slip down now. But even so, what are they? Are they? How many points are they behind? McLaren, suck teams. Give me a second.
Renault, in a nutshell, the car doesn't suit Ricciardo. It doesn't suit Hulkenberg. Ricciardo's driving well. Hulkenberg, Ricciardo is the Premier League, if you like, and Division 1 is Hulkenberg. They're both solid, but Hulkenberg's just not doing the same job as Ricciardo. He's been paid a lot more.
So,
the cars, will get there, but it's just not suiting either driver.
So I've got the Constructors' Championship up on the screen now. Renault 39 points, P6. McLaren 82 points, P4. That's a massive gulf to catch up in with the last 9 races. Because
I think Renault have gone down the wrong development route. Because that's what Ricciardo was saying at Austria, wasn't it? He wanted them to take bits back off the car again. So something's not matching up with whatever their data is saying at Enstone. It's not matching up.
And let's face it, if the results stand, obviously the results at the minute are still waiting on the outcome of Alfa Romeo's disqualification in Hungary. If Alfa Romeo get that result overturned, Williams will lose their point. But Alfa Romeo, that's a good few points that they're going to get. That I think, will that take them above Renault or very close?
I don't think it'll get overturned though.
Nah, be too late, really.
Yeah, no. I think with Renault, it's a case of that's karma showing its head after last year with a spat with Red Bull, and their directors, their sporting, the head was with his little spat with Christian Horner. That's what karma's doing. Karma's come back and went, hello.
I think what Renault can learn from McLaren is the structure of the team, which we said we've faced McLaren for. Renault are probably another team that could probably learn to do that.
Yeah.
Where I don't think Cyril will. I don't think Cyril will be there next year.
Do you think he'll be out?
Yes.
Right. So
who's going to replace him?
Negativity around him whenever he's been about, in whatever team, whether it's been Red Bull or Renault. I've never really heard anything positive come out of his mouth, and I don't think that's good for the team.
No.
Who was that? Hulkenberg.
No, Cyril Abiteboul.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think. I mean, I know he's a bit like Binotto. He's been over in France and running Enstone. They've brought somebody in to run Enstone, and they've finally just opened Enstone back up to what it was when they were last in. But they need to look at the way McLaren have done it, and they need to act.
Yeah, I think Cyril needs to go because he was always peeing off Red Bull.
I think
Renault.
I think the Red Bull thing was a bit of both, wasn't it? I think they both just round each other. I think they both inflamed the situation. No, that's what I mean. The both, him and Christian inflamed the situation.
Yeah.
And again, this year he said the target's P4, and they're 30 odd points behind, 40 odd points, 50 odd points behind McLaren.
Yeah.
Honda's just keep breaking that car for the rest of the season now because it's hanging on by a thread now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like Will says, it doesn't suit either driver's style. And Ricciardo's coming in and trying to lead that team, but
Ricciardo's seen something from Renault. Let's face it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have signed a multi-year contract with them because he did have the option of staying at Red Bull. He had the contract in front of him. He even he was at that point where he was going to sign, but he must have seen something at Red Bull at Renault to switch to Renault.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the team or the drivers. I think it's the car. The car doesn't break enough for Ricciardo, which is his, patented post-it move, if you like, send it and post it, whatever.
Yeah.
And Hulkenberg, it's been another sort of middling season for him. But he's a solid enough driver. He's the driver that Ricciardo needs.
Yep.
When Hulkenberg, so when Ricciardo first turned up at Enstone, it was reported that Hulkenberg was just in the shadows because obviously Ricciardo's in, everybody's saying hello to him, he's beaming with a smile and all, because he's always a happy chappy, and Hulkenberg was just in the shadows.
Yeah.
But the races look closer than what people thought it was going to be. Was it 6-4? Did you say?
Let me get it back up. 6-4 because they had a double DNF in Bahrain and Germany. Yeah.
And Ricciardo is known as a great qualifier, and in the midfield, you've not really been making or losing places so much in general. So he's qualifying better and keeping the place.
Yeah, and Ricciardo's got into Q3 6 times versus Hulkenberg's 4 times.
What we need is that stat, how on average, slower Hulkenberg is. Is it qualifying they usually do it by over a season or whatever? The same like between Bottas and Hamilton, is it something ridiculous like less than a tenth of a second in qualifying or something average? I don't think it's a bad job Hulkenberg's doing.
No.
It's just Ricciardo is the better qualifier, like Max against Gasly. Nobody's going to beat him.
And you'd hope so for the amount of reported money that they've paid Ricciardo.
Yeah.
He probably deserves it.
Yeah.
He's the driver.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, Portsmouth going to go and buy somebody from Manchester United, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
I know nothing about football, but you get my point. Basically, they've got a bit more than they should have done, but he's performing.
Yeah, that's true.
He's the only shining light so far this season.
Yeah. It's like Williams going to buy Lionel Messi. There you go.
What Renault have done wrong is they've gone and got Ricciardo just to upset or piss off Red Bull, whichever way you want to see it. Sorry for my French again. But they didn't have everything behind the scenes done and ready to go.
Mm.
They were still playing catch up from obviously Lotus shutting a lot of end stuff down.
Yeah. So
yeah, which is point I was making earlier that they're still spending lots of money on that and not on the car.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's open now, isn't it?
And now they've
It's
got
still being done.
pretty much no money left to inject into the car.
Yeah.
So-
Exactly. Hence
It's
why it's
still
hanging
being
by a
done.
thread.
They'll be using gaffer tape, a bit like how Manor were towards the end of their run. Using gaffer tape to hold
Nothing
the
wrong
wing
with
together.
gaffer tape.
Well,
But this
depends.
does open an opportunity because they'll be an ideal team to buy out.
Mm.
Williams, because all their stuff, Enstone, is a perfect place to start, you know? So if Renault do sell up, you could see a Maserati or something take that seat or that place.
Mm.
It's all set up for them. Or Porsche. Can you imagine Porsche just buying Enstone?
They want
Well,
in, don't they?
Porsche have bought built an engine or potentially build an engine for 2021, won't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
So my question is, who are they going to, if they have, and they're going to come in, who are they going to be teaming up with?
Maybe that's what Ricardo knows and we don't.
Mm.
Yeah.
'Cause he likes Porsches.
Maybe.
It's built up, but it's still a nice blank canvas to build on.
Yeah.
Is what they've wanted, really.
It's going to be a nice podcast to listen back to listen about what's changed by the end of the year, isn't it? It's going to be really interesting to listen back at the end of the season with this.
Just on Cyril Beatball, I found this during the break, and I was just quoting what he said. And let me find it. He said, "We are well below what the cap is for 2021. In no shape or form is it a saving opportunity for us. We are just thinking what we need to do, whether we need to freeze the current level because we think it is way below but high enough to be competitive, or we need to increase. We may have to increase because the budget cap is higher than we were anticipating, substantially higher. But it's a discussion that we need to have with our shareholders because that is not a decision I can make myself."
Well,
I've heard that from some horses as well.
And here's the thing: when they said they were going to come back, Bernie thought the budget cap was going to come in sooner, and they wouldn't have to spend as much as the top three teams doing races. And how wrong was Bernie?
I've got a
Bernie's
point
always
about
wrong.
that when we come to Force Racing Point.
yeah, they're actually two teams away. So let's wrap up with Renault. Who do we? Well, actually, Lard, we haven't heard much from you, mate. You've been sitting in the background.
There's a lot of sleep.
No, I'm still here. No, I can't really say much else really that hasn't already been said.
Yeah. But so who do we think is going to partner with Ricardo next year at Renault then?
Hulkenberg?
Hulkenberg?
They can take the option up for 1 year, and that will probably suit both parties.
I reckon Hulkenberg.
You think Hulkenberg, and then that'll probably be it for him, really.
Yeah, and I'll see Gasly in that seat.
Emma?
Yeah, Hulkenberg next year.
Right. Okay, so we got Ricardo and Hulkenberg. Let's lock that in.
They want a French driver in that seat, don't they? So 2021 would be probably the year they get a French driver in there.
Yeah,
Unless Cyril Beatball goes, in which case that might change.
Well, let's move on to our next team in the championship, and that is a small team called Alfa Romeo. Let's bring up their stats. So, Kimi Räikkönen, a breath of fresh air to see him actually smiling, but still saying very little words, with Antonio Giovinazzi. And you'll probably be not so surprised to know that it stands as this. Qualifying, Räikkönen 8-4. Highest finish is 7th place, 3 lots of that this season, compared to 1/10th place with Giovinazzi. 31 points to 1 is the score there, and races 11-1. So 4-0 in regards to Räikkönen. Giovinazzi, well, let's start with Räikkönen. Breath of fresh air, smiley, happy Räikkönen. How much a team can change a man, eh? We'll start with
Yeah,
Emma.
especially when the pressure's off of him.
Yeah.
He went after us. As soon as Ferrari said, "We're not keeping you," he knew where he wanted to go, and he went and saw him on the race morning and said, "Have you got a seat for me next year?" And Peter Sauber wasn't going to say no to him. I mean, he had to convince the owners of Sauber to take him on, but I mean, they weren't going to turn him down. Would you turn down if you got a chance to sign Kimi? Are you going to turn him down?
Let's have a look at his
No,
stats.
not really, because look at the experience he has, and he's a former world champ.
Was that?
Yeah, I mean, I've got his stats up on the screen here. 303 race starts, 31. Sorry, 31. 13. I've just mistyped that. 13 seasons in Formula One, not 31 seasons. He's been
31
racing
seasons,
since
bloody
he's
hell.
8.
Started when he was 8.
Yeah.
7.
Career points 1,847. One world championship win with 21 race victories under his belt as well, and still at the good young age of 39. And I'm going to say good young age of 39 because I'm not far off of that age myself. So I'll
Yeah, 39's a good young age.
yes.
And he's like an engineer though. Apparently, according to his ex-engineers, he goes into so much detail how they set the car up for him or how he wants the car set up. He must be like, for those mechanics, he must be like, you know, going from Marcus Ericsson to him must be like a golf, really. He must be like playing for like Portsmouth or whatever, and then going up a couple of divisions or whatever.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? Kimi's in the best place. He's telling the team what to do because he's experienced. He's telling Giovinazzi what to do and teaching him the ropes. He's racing well. Car is solid. It'll only get better. He'll only get better. He can't really go down any further.
And he doesn't have any media commitments, which he hated.
Yeah. I can see
That's why he's so happy.
As well. He looks really happy.
That's why he's so happy.
Media.
He doesn't have to do it in the media anymore. He's happy.
I can see Kimi staying after 2021. If he's happy in that seat, why not?
Yep.
He's on a 3-year deal. I don't see either team breaking it, either him or Kimi breaking it, to be honest, the team or Kimi breaking it, because he is their number one driver. And why would you not have him as a number one driver?
He'll race until he carries on enjoying it, and then he'll pay to get out if he wants to get out, because he doesn't need the money. He's doing it because he loves racing, and that's all he does it for.
He could be the oldest F1 driver because he just loves sport.
Yeah.
He could. I mean, let's talk about his the number 2 driver in the team, Giovinazzi. I mean, he's 25. It's his first official season in Formula One because he did do a couple of races for Sauber. Was it Sauber a few years ago? I know he binned it. What was it, China? He binned it and stuff like that. But this is pretty much his official season, his first official season. And I mean, let's have a look. 15th, 11th, 15th, 12th, 16th, 19th, 13th, 16th, 10th, retired Britain, 13th and 18th. Not the best run, if I'm honest. But again, with that coaching from Raikkonen help him develop to become a better driver?
I don't think...
this far.
I think, as Will said earlier, Ferrari haven't got a lot of drivers coming through. So maybe his seat is secure for another season. If they can develop that car a bit better, because it's a bit like the Ferrari, it just seems to be good on certain tracks or over one lap, and it just seems to be in race pace, it just seems to drop off a little bit.
That's what I was about to say. You need to compare that to how Kimi did, because Kimi got the best out of that car in every race, let's face it. And if Giovinazzi's less than 3 or 4 places behind, I'd call that a win. He's still learning, he's young, he's green behind. He hasn't really done much racing at this spec, I think. So, you know, he's a bit old to be saying he's the future, really, 25, compared to the other guys that are on the grid. But he's not been in it as much as he was.
Yeah. I mean, having a look... Sorry. Whoever
that was it, basically. He's just happy.
Having a look at who is on the current Ferrari driver academy. I mean, the ones that are going at the minute. We've got Giuliano Alesi. We've got Callum Ilott. I don't know how it's pronounced. Ilott, thank you. And Mick Schumacher. Could you see any of those potentially coming up into Formula One? Obviously, Mick Schumacher, the prodigy, is a clear one because obviously the son of Michael Schumacher. But what about Lacey and Ilott?
No.
None of them.
I don't see any of them.
Not this year.
No, ever.
No, not this year at all.
Okay.
I think Mick
Schumacher hasn't been that good in F2.
Mick Schumacher said himself he wants another season in F2.
Yeah. He's not ready. He's too green.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be next year. It'd be if one of those 3 does well next year and they've got enough points for a super license, then his seat may be under threat.
So do we?
If anything, it's not going to be any of them. It's going to be the Alpha development driver, Manuel Correa, is it? I can't remember now. But he's an F2.
Mm.
Or Pascal Wehrlein.
Yeah.
Ferrari again, isn't it?
Yeah. It'll be one of them too if they do get rid of him. So, but I don't think that's going to change. I think they're going to lock in as is.
Yeah.
Giovinazzi brings a lot of money to the team. He's happy. He's good for the city. That's what that team needs. Timmy's there for the points. He's there for the money.
Yeah.
Much like who
Timmy
we'll
will
come
have
to
the main
next.
influence of who he wants in that team.
Yeah.
I think, like I say, this year, I think, and the next year, they may change.
Right. Okay. So do we think lockdown, same drivers this time next year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not a bad thing either.
No.
I think it's a good.
You're absolutely right. I don't think it is a bad thing either. So let's have a look at our next team, which I should really load up the cards before I even say that. So let me just flick across to that. I've just put that live, haven't I? Yeah, I have. No, I haven't. I haven't put that live. Let's just get it sorted out now. Now I'm going live, and I'm just going to on-screen edit it. Racing Point. They're the next ones. So bring up the stats on their cards. There we go. So Perez and Stroll. Qualifying wise, well, it's down to Perez. 12-0. Highest finish, we got a 6th place for Perez and 1 4th place for Stroll. That was Germany. Points wise, 13-18, quite balanced there. And race wise, Perez 8-2, Stroll's 4-2. But is it as balanced as it looks?
No.
Yeah, I would say yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah.
Okay, let's Emma.
I just don't rate Stroll at all, to be quite honest.
So let's go with Emma first on this one. Why don't you rate Stroll?
I've just never really seen like that little spark of, yeah, he's going to be a really good driver. He's only had one race this season where it's like, yeah, it was pretty good, but was that pure skill? I don't think it was. I honestly think he is just there because of the amount of money he brings along, and that's helping Perez perform to the best of his ability in the kit he's got.
So a bit like how with Williams, obviously Lawrence Stroll was a big shareholder at the time for Williams as well, and that guaranteed Lance Stroll a seat for the 2 seasons out there until Lawrence Stroll bought out the Force India, the team formerly known as Force India, and took his son across.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Racing Point need that money. Otherwise, they were potentially not going to be here for the rest of the season.
Will, you are the other no person about the balance.
Well, his 1/4 place was worth the 12 points of his total.
Mm-hmm.
So if you tag, which you can say Germany was mostly luck,
Yeah.
crap. He doesn't qualify well. He has good race starts, but doesn't tend to keep the places.
Mm-hmm.
He's just there for the money. I don't rate him as a driver at all.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Q3, Perez got in there 3 times versus Stroll's none.
Yeah. Because that car is good. I think that car is perfectly reasonable.
I don't think it's where it should be though. Well, where it was last year. I think they can develop that car, but obviously they're getting the money now from when it was brought out last year. So next year they could be the team to watch maybe if they get it right.
They could be fighting with McLaren next year.
Yeah,
This is
there,
the
get it right.
problem with the budget cap. At the minute, Racing Point are spending as much money as they can on everything they can before the budget cap comes in, so they can catch up. Which is why I don't agree with the budget cap for teams like that have got some money and they need to improve because we want to see them up there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
We want to see all the teams up there, don't you, really?
Nobody got complaints there, so they need to spend the money. Don't limit the midfield, limit the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to lose them again because they won't be
It'll
competitive.
just balance out because,
Yeah, but they won't have the money for the wind tunnel,
Yeah.
which teams have already got, or they use Ferraris or whatever. And it just sucks. That was really bad, sorry.
That's all right.
No.
That's how you feel.
Now it's more about my accent when I said it. It
Oh,
was
don't worry
terrible.
about it.
Just one thing on both drivers. Would it surprise you if I said that both of them, at some point in their career, have been in the Ferrari Driver Academy?
yeah, already knew that.
Yeah,
it's
something I
team
knew as
mechanisms,
well.
Yeah.
And they won't be going to Ferrari.
No, they won't. No.
No.
God, no.
Lard?
It's been a solid year for Racing Point. It hasn't been, overwhelmingly fantastic, but they haven't sort of dropped off since being taken over. And to say that there has been a slight improvement in Lance Stroll since moving to there, I think would be a fair assumption for. But
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I don't think he's going to be a world champion.
No.
He's going to be like a solid, maybe number 2 driver for some.
He'll be the Hulkenberg of the future.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Hulkenberg fans, but that's where he is.
Yeah.
What everybody aspires to be.
The Hulk.
So let's just round up with this team because we've got to fly through the next couple of teams really. The drivers wise, do we think both of them will still be there this time next year? They both haven't agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think Perez.
Perez has probably got a seat for life there. Perez has got a seat for life there.
Well,
Yeah.
they've always said that if he wants to go elsewhere, they won't stop him. But he's happy where he is, and he's performing.
They actually care about each other as a team and as a driver.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Much like Mercedes and Hamilton.
Yeah.
There's just that bond between team and driver, which makes them perfect for that team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of teams that have harmony, let's talk about these two individuals, shall we? Because let's face it, that's what they are. They're individuals. Just happen
Should
to
we
be
not
in the
talk
same
about
team.
them? Because who cares? Because they're Haas.
That team doesn't operate as a team. That team doesn't operate as a team. It's like one side of the garage versus the other side of the garage.
We're going to say this. We're just going to go through the head-to-head. 7 to 5, Magnussen. 6th versus 7th, Magnussen. 18 to 8, Magnussen. 6 to 5, Magnussen. Because I had a double DNF in Britain, which means Magnussen's 4 to 0. But who really cares? Because it's Haas. So let's move on to our final team and that's all Haas is going to have. Sorry, Haas. Biggest disappointment this year.
I just want to say, I don't think either driver will be there next year.
Nope.
I was going to say, we need to confirm about drivers, John. That was sort of the idea of this.
That is the idea of it, but I'm still. But yeah, so I think both drivers are gone.
Pascal Wehrlein to take the seat of one of them.
Yeah, Magnussen will stay. Oh, Grosjean's gone.
Okay.
They need some stability in that team.
So K-Mag will stay.
Yeah. I think so.
And we think, what? How are they powered by Ferrari?
I think Pascal Wehrlein from Ferrari.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
I will go out on a limb. It probably won't happen, but Sergio Sette Camarara from F2.
Yeah, that's a fair call. And they need some experience.
I just want to say that Gunther Steiner said he's not going to put a youngster in there next year.
Yeah, but hey, hang on.
We've established they all lie.
Gas going to have a seat till the end of the year.
Do we think
that if they...
Do we think Gunther Steiner will be at Haas next year? He's the one who made the call to keep both of them this year.
Yes, he will be there next year. No, they won't.
No.
Yeah.
So shall we put a line under Haas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unlike Rich Energy, we keep our promises. Let's move on to a team that actually deserves a little bit of talk because I think they're the team that we all feel for. Williams. Head to head, this is how it stands. Russell out-qualified Kubica 12 to 0 so far. He's unlucky with the 11th place over 10th, with Kubicza's 1 point, but 10 races to 2. Even though that says it's a balanced 2-all, let's be real here. It's Russell who's performing well. Kubica got absolutely lucky with Germany. And I mean, it took DQs to actually get Kubicza's point. Russell nearly got it into that Williams into Q2 in Hungary.
Also, the race that Kubica won was France, I believe, when he forced him into the bollard and broke Russell's front wing, which is the other reason Kubica won that. Well, the head-to-head in that French Grand Prix. So it's one race really, and like you say, Germany was lucky.
Yeah.
Simple as. And he nearly overtook him because didn't Russell make a mistake trying to let Hamilton through?
Yeah.
I think my thoughts on Kubica are well documented.
Yeah. I think everyone's thoughts on it, aren't they?
I really wanted him to do well for the message it would send out to an awful lot of people, but it's completely fallen short, and I don't think he's going to be in that seat next year.
No.
I think he spent too much time away, and it's just not happened for him.
So do we think...
I don't think it's that.
The injury
I think
certainly
it's his
changed
limitations.
Yeah, he's a right-handed driver, driving with his left-hand side.
Who do we think will replace Kubica next season then?
Nicholas Latifi.
I was about to say that. He's got the money, and he's got
Yep.
money.
He's a good driver, solid performer, and they have interest in him anyway.
Lard, Will?
I don't know who'd replace him. I'd probably bow to Mook on this one.
I think, yeah.
You need to watch F2.
Mook has the knowledge. So that's our team.
If you want a British driver, I would say Jack Aiken from F2.
Yes.
If you want a British driver pairing, go Jack Aiken. But my money's on Nicholas Latifi, just because of how good he is.
If they want experience, welcome back, Felipe Massa!
Yay!
Rubens Barrichello!
Before we go,
It'll be his son.
Before we go, we've got something we're going to go through very, 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 very quickly, which is before we start this stream, Emma came up with this thing about putting down top drivers of the year so far, shocker of the year, surprise of the year, and predictions for the rest of the year. Okay.
Do you want me to go first?
I'll let you go first. Yeah.
Time to think about it.
Yeah.
So my top drivers of the year, in no particular order, Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
Just because. Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
And George Russell.
So
I'm not going for like your traditional, like your points scorers. I'm going through how they've performed so far and how impressive they've been. Shocker of the year, I think we'll all probably agree on this one, Haas. My surprise of the year, I've already mentioned McLaren. I'm really surprised how they've improved over last year. And my prediction, I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but I predict McLaren may get a podium.
Oh.
But I think that won't be necessarily down to skill, but maybe a little bit of luck as well. But yeah, that's what I think.
I like that.
Oh, no, you like that.
Of course. Hey, I can be balanced. No.
No.
Lard?
Surprise drivers, drivers of the year so far for me. Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Verstappen for how he's improved from being accident prone and being quite aggressive with his attitude.
Yeah.
And for sheer dominance again before the second half of the season, it has to be Lewis Hamilton.
Okay. What about shockers?
Shocker, Ferrari.
Ferrari.
How badly they have come out the blocks.
Yeah. That's true.
Considering there's such great hope for the test, and then it just went, yeah, it's not here.
Surprise?
Surprise of the year, it has to be McLaren as well, because again they have really improved and come along.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about prediction?
Prediction of the year by Singapore, Bottas will be told he is out.
Oh,
Right. Okay. Do you know what? I'm going to go next. I think top drivers for this year have been the pairing of Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz. And I also think, if I'm honest, I'm going to give it to Kimi for going to Sauber and pushing that Sauber as hard as possible in his twilight years in Formula One. Shocker of the year has to be the downfall of Haas, and I've put down Ferrari no race wins as well. Surprise of the year, I've got two. McLaren, the big one. Who would have thought they'd be best of the rest at the mid-season break? And German Grand Prix. How much a bit of rain and a bit of slippy tarmac can actually make everything a bit more exciting. And prediction? Oh, crap. Prediction? I didn't think of this. I think Red Bull to finish second. That's what I'm going with. There we go. Right. Henry.
hello. Sorry, I was just typing out. Drivers of the season, for me, Carlos Sainz,
Mm-hmm.
Max Verstappen,
Yeah.
and I'm going to say Lando Norris as well, and George Russell. I'm going to go 4 drivers.
Right. Okay.
Shocker this season?
Yeah.
Haas has to be Haas because they were fourth best team last year.
Mm-hmm.
Prediction?
Yeah.
I think same year Red Bull to finish second.
Right.
Am I missing anything?
Surprise.
Yeah.
McLaren.
McLaren. And finally, Will.
Ooh, performances of the season: Hamilton, Verstappen, and probably Kimi.
Mm-hmm.
Shocker, Haas.
Mm-hmm.
Made it down to one incident: Grosjean in the pit lane.
Silverstone. Yep.
And to say Kubica's also in this season, that is quite the shocker. What have we got?
Surprise.
Surprise. George Russell. You know, not giving a great car, putting in some great performances.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah.
And
Prediction. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Hamilton will score over 500 drivers' points, and Mercedes as a team will score double what Ferrari does.
Nice.
Maths doing what maths does. I think there's only 225 drivers' points left. Plus the 9 fastest laps.
There's 9 races left.
Yeah, so he won't score over 500 points.
Take one race and off it then, of whatever the maximum is. So he'll only drop another 25 points all season.
Okay, all right. That's cool.
Roughly.
That's cool. So, everyone, Will, Lard, Henry, Emma, thank you very much for joining me today. We're going to wrap up now. So, you can follow us. I have a list today. You can follow us on Twitter at Turn 1 Podcast. You can also go to our Facebook page, Turn 1 Podcast as well. YouTube. Just search for Turn 1 Podcast. We're all on there. We've got loads of things coming up on there, loads of content available for you. And if you're unhappy with anything you're listening to, or you just want to get in contact with us, you can email podcastturn1@gmail.com. Don't ask me why I put podcast turn 1, because I can't remember. It was that long ago I set it up. Thank you very much for everyone who's watching. Thank you very much to my guests for being on a podcast, being on a podcast with me. my guests, thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
They've already said their bye-byes. I'm going to say my bye-bye. Until next time, which we'll be back for Spa-Francorchamps in literally a week and a bit's time. Take care. Bye-bye. Not a bad little podcast today, wasn't it? Right, let's do wrap-ups properly now. So we'll start with, let's go backwards. Henry. Should be quick.
Goodbye, everybody.
Emma. Mook.
Bye.
You're not plugging?
Nah.
Nah. Okay. Will.
Ta-ra.
Ta-ra. No plug. Lard.
I'll see you tomorrow at 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. for a start of another Assassin's Creed. But yeah, goodbye. Thank you very much.
I forgot it's not Saturday, isn't it? It's Wednesday. For me, this is what's coming up before we disappear. I'm on holiday for a week, so I'm not back until Tomo Podcast on Saturday. So what we've got is as follows. Time for rerun, 8 till 10. That will be the Rocket League that was on last Wednesday with myself, Lou, Lard, Last Lisa, Ems. It was fantastic. And who have I missed? Soul as well. That was absolutely fantastic. It's well worth the watch if you haven't watched it. It was brilliant. Please just watch it. It's funny as. And then special treat for you. Next Wednesday, 6:30 through to midnight. I've found it. I'm redoing it. I'm reloading it. It's the 5.5 hour Martin House charity stream that I had back in the 25th of, back on the 20th of, I think it was 25th of November last year. Took place across the corridor in the man cave. It's a brilliant stream. It's got everything on there. I hope you guys enjoy rewatching that again. We are going to go across and we are going to actually go and raid a Formula One driver. So he's live, isn't he?
Yep. Still playing PUBG.
Right, let's find him. There he is. It's got 920 viewers going on. From us, our little, however many viewers are watching today, from me, thank you ever so much for coming by. Have a great couple of weeks. I'll see you guys on Saturday the 30th, I want to say. Saturday 29th, isn't it? Saturday 29th. Until then, take care. Tracker raid, by the way. Let me just confirm that I'm raiding Lando. Can I raid Lando Norris? I can raid Lando Norris. Hashtag shambles. The shambles is on holiday. The shambles will be back when I go live in the shambles at the shambles in York. Aha. There we go. Right. See you later. Take care. Thanks for watching.
I'm in the shower.
I said the shambles in York. There's a street in York called the Shambles. Duh. Actually is. Shambles in shambles. There we go. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.